Welcome back to the deep dive. We're your express lane, really, to getting up to speed on big topics. And today, we're tackling one of the biggest decisions many of us face, buying a home. Specifically, we're zooming in on Central Florida, Orlando, actually. It's such a dynamic market right now. Our mission here is simple. Cut through all the noise. We want to really unpack the key differences between buying a brand new construction home versus, a resale home. The goal is to give you the insights you need quickly so you can figure out which path lines up best with your priorities. We're talking cost, timeline, the kind of lifestyle you're after. And we're basing this on insights from a real expert, someone with over 20 years navigating this exact market. So, solid stuff. Okay, let's unpack this. Maybe the best way is through some real stories we've seen lately. Let's start with Sarah and Mike. Young couple, just moved to Orlando for work. And like a lot of people, their first thought was new construction. Like Nona, maybe. The appeal, obvious, right?
Yeah.
Customizing everything, picking the floors, the countertops, making it theirs. That idea of a totally fresh start. But then they saw the timeline. We're talking maybe 18 months. And the price tag for all that customization, it definitely gave them pause. It adds up fast. So what did they end up doing? Well, they actually found a resale home, but it was nearly new in an established area of Winter Park.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it already had modern upgrades, the kind of stuff they wanted anyway. And the closing, super fast, like 45 days.
Big difference.
Huge. Plus, the price left them room in the budget for furniture, making it feel like home right away. And they got more than just a house. They landed in this vibrant, walkable neighborhood, mature trees, real history, close to everything.
That immediate community feel.
Exactly. Then there's another story, the Carter family. Moved down from up north, escaping the cold winters. They fell for a resale home. This one in College Park had that kind of quirky 1950s charm.
Right, lots of character in those areas.
Totally. And a big backyard, which was great for the kids. Now, it definitely needed some TLC, some updates.
Usually does.
But the lower price point, plus being in that established community near good schools, local shops, that real neighborhood vibe that won out for them over a shiny new build. What's fascinating here, listening to those stories, is how they really highlight a core truth. Especially in a market like Orlando's. There's just no single right answer.
Right.
It's not just about the bricks and mortar.
Right.
Choosing new versus resale, it's so duckly personal.
Yeah.
It's tied to your finances, sure, but also how fast you need to be in a place and what kind of day-to-day life you actually want is finding where those things intersect for you.
Okay, so building on that, one of the really interesting things popping up now, especially in 2025, is this opportunity with new construction homes that, well, fall through.
Yeah, we're seeing that more.
Like the original buyer can't close for some reason, and suddenly this nearly finished house is back on the market. We had a client, Jenna, in Windermere, found this amazing new build in a really sought-after community. The first buyer's financing fell apart, so the house was like 80% done.
Okay.
So no, Jenna couldn't change the finishes or the floor plan. That was all locked in.
Very the trade-off.
But the upside was huge. She got an incredible deal because it was priced at the community's earlier phase rate.
Ah, okay, before the price hikes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
About 10% less than similar homes were selling for right then. And because it was almost finished, she closed in just 60 days.
Wow, compared to a year or more.
Right. Way faster than starting from scratch.
And, connecting that to the bigger picture, that scenario, it's definitely becoming more common across Central Florida, especially with interest rates being higher in 2025. Sometimes deals just don't hold together.
Makes sense.
So builders, they really want to move these homes quickly when that happens. They don't want them sitting empty. And they're often willing to offer pretty significant incentives to make it happen.
Like what kind of incentives?
Well, we're seeing substantial cost savings. Things like rate buy-downs are a big one.
Explain that a bit.
Sure. A rate buy-down is where the builder actually pays points to lower your mortgage interest rate for the first, say, 1 to 3 years. It can make your initial monthly payments considerably lower, hundreds of dollars sometimes. It's a real financial help up front.
Gotcha. So it helps offset those higher general rates.
Exactly. It's a strategic move by the builder. The catch, like with Jenna, is you have to be flexible. You're getting the house as is, design-wise. But if speed and value are your top priorities, you could potentially snag a modern home in a fantastic area. Think Dr. Phillips, maybe even Winter Park for a really good price.
That's a really interesting point about builders being motivated right now. So what about this idea of new construction popping up within established neighborhoods? That seems like a big Orlando trend for 2025 too, right? Not just building out on the edges.
Oh, absolutely. That's a key shift. We're seeing a lot more infill development. So new homes being built right inside areas like Winter Park, College Park, Dr. Phillips, parts of Lake Nona, Windermere.
These are places with track records.
Exactly. Proven areas. They hold their value or increase it, partly because they already have very great schools, restaurants, cultural stuff, good infrastructure. So a new home there, it kind of gives you the best of both worlds.
How so?
Well, you get the modern design, the energy efficiency, lower maintenance of a new build.
Right. None of the immediate fix-it lists.
Exactly. But you also get the lifestyle benefits of that established community immediately. Imagine a brand new house, but you can walk to Park Avenue in Winter Park. Contrast that with maybe buying an older home in the same spot that needs, tens of thousands in updates to feel modern. So from a long-term investment view, a new home in one of these proven prime spots can often be a really smart move, potentially better appreciation.
That makes a lot of sense for the long haul. But just playing devil's advocate, what if someone's focus is more on like short-term equity? Could they find a really rundown resale in Winter Park, renovate it smartly, and maybe build equity faster that way?
That's a great point. Yeah, that highlights different buyer strategies. Absolutely, if you have the money, the time, and frankly, the patience for a big renovation.
It's not for everyone.
Definitely not. But yes, buying low, renovating well in a prime location can force appreciation faster. You're actively creating that value. But it comes with risks, right? Unexpected costs always pop up. Delays happen. Living through construction is stressful. The new infill build gives you that modern value right away without the renovation chaos. So it boils down to risk tolerance and whether you prefer to, let's say, buy the value or create it. Now, compare those established areas to the newer communities. You find those more in places like Winter Garden, St. Cloud, parts of Lake County, Polk, Osceola.
Further out, generally.
Generally, yeah. And the big draw there is often affordability. The new builds tend to cost less.
Okay.
The trade-off, though, can be infrastructure. Maybe not as many shops and restaurants nearby yet. Walkability might be lower. The schools might still be developing their reputation.
And the long-term value?
It can be less predictable. There's growth potential, for sure. But it's often tied more to future development plans. Will that shopping center get built?
Yeah.
When will the new roads go in? It's not based on the already there demand you find in, say, College Park.
Okay, so bringing all these pieces together, what does this actually mean for your wallet? Let's try to break down the typical costs, the practical stuff, for maybe a standard 3-bed, 2-bath home in the Orlando area right now in 2025.
Absolutely. Let's look at the numbers, roughly. Average price. For new construction, you're probably looking somewhere in the $450,000 to $600,000 range, maybe more depending on location and finishes.
Okay, and resale?
Resale generally is often lower, maybe $350,000 to $500,000. Again, depends heavily on location and condition, but usually a noticeable difference in the starting price.
That's significant upfront.
It is. Then timeline, closing time.
Yeah.
Building new from the ground up.
Yeah.
You're looking at 6 months on the absolute fastest end, more realistically 12 to 18 months.
Patience is key.
Definitely. Resale, much faster, usually 30 to 60 days from contract to closing. That's huge if you need to move quickly. Customization. New construction wins here, but only if you get in early. You pick finishes, maybe tweak layouts. It's your vision.
Right.
Resale, well, you get what the previous owner chose. Major changes mean renovations after you buy.
More potential cost and hassle down the line?
Exactly. Maintenance costs, though, generally lower with new construction initially. Everything's new, under warranty often. HVAC, roof, appliances.
Peace of mind there.
For a while, yes.
Yeah.
Resale, you're inheriting older systems. You need to budget for potential repairs or replacements sooner rather than later. Incentives. This is a big differentiator right now.
We talked about the rate buy-downs?
Right. Builders are offering those, maybe paying closing costs, throwing in free appliance packages or landscaping. They're motivated.
Except for resale.
Less structured. You negotiate. Maybe you get seller concessions. The seller agrees to pay a few thousand towards your closing costs, for example. It helps, but it's not usually the same scale as builder incentives. And finally, appreciation potential. New builds, especially in those prime established areas we talked about, strong potential. There's a premium for newness in a great location.
Makes sense.
Resale appreciation, it really varies. Depends heavily on the home's condition, the specific street it's on, market trends, and how much you invest in updates. So, yeah, understanding all these pieces directly impacts your budget now and your financial picture long term.
That's a super clear breakdown. Really helpful. So, okay, if we boil all this down, What are your top tips for someone trying to make this choice in Orlando right now?
Okay, top tips. First, cost savings. With new construction, really line into those builder incentives, especially now. With higher rates, builders want to make deals. Ask about rate buydowns, closing cost help, included upgrades. Don't be shy. For resale, negotiation is your tool. Aim for seller concessions to cover closing costs, or maybe get a credit for needed repairs you identify during inspection. Second, lifestyle. Really think about this. Do you dream of walking to cafes, having mature trees, that sense of history? Look at established areas like Witter Park or College Park. You might find a charming resale or even one of those new infill builds.
Right, options in both categories there.
Yeah. If you prefer maybe a quieter, more suburban vibe, newer communities in places like St. Cloud or Wintergarden could work. But, and this is key, do your homework on future development plans. Make sure the planned growth matches what you want long term. You don't want unexpected surprises later. Third, timing. This is critical. If you have a tight deadline relocating for a job, school starting resale is almost always safer. Or maybe one of those nearly finished new builds that fell through.
The Jenna scenario.
Exactly. Standard new construction, especially custom. It's just prone to delays. Weather, materials, labor, stuff happens. Don't bank on a specific move-in date if it's non-negotiable. And lastly, maybe most importantly, work with a good local expert, a realtor who really knows Central Florida.
Why is that so crucial?
Because they know the builders' reputations. They know which neighborhoods have those hidden infill lots coming up. They can spot when a new construction is listed at an old phase price or identify an undervalued resale in an area about to take off.
They have the inside track.
They really do. They're your guide, finding opportunities you'd likely miss just searching online.
That's all incredibly practical advice. It really highlights why new construction is such a big part of the conversation in Orlando right now, even with higher interest rates.
It absolutely is. The builder incentives are a huge driver.
But the market's still complex.
Oh, definitely. Orlando's market is always moving, always changing. New construction is hot, no doubt, especially luxury builds in places like Lake Nona, Windermere. We see cash buyers snapping those up, wanting the latest smart home tech, the modern designs. But resale, still a very strong choice for many. For character, for speed, for that immediate neighborhood feel, ultimately your best choice comes down to balancing the cost, the lifestyle you want, and your goals for the future.
So whether you're drawn to that sleek, never-lived-in feel of a new build or the charm and history of a resale home, keep coming back to those core things: cost, timeline, lifestyle. They interact differently with each choice, and figuring out your priorities is key to finding the right fit. And maybe here's a final thought to leave you with. Beyond the practical stuff, the budget spreadsheets, the move-in dates, how might the type of home you choose, new build versus resale, subtly shape your connection to the community over time? Or even your sense of self as a homeowner? Think about the difference between joining a neighborhood that's just forming, writing its first chapter together, versus stepping into a place with decades of stories already in the sidewalks. It's more than just the house itself. It's about the life you build there and the community fabric you become part of. Something to mull over.